So in this question, we're given four different pricing policies. Now, ultimately, it's asking about which of the following policy results in the establishment of a price to external customers that is higher than the competitive price for a given industry, right? So we learned about how in markets, the price is sometimes set by the general market, right? And individual players don't necessarily have a lot of control over that price unless one thing happens here, and I'll give you an example. So let's take gas for an example. Gas is generally set by the market, and in general, most gas stations, their pricing is based on the general price of gas. However, let's say that Larry and Gary, they live in a small town, and they're the only two gas stations in this town. And the closest town otherwise would be hundreds of miles away, right? So everybody that comes through their town has to buy gas from one or the other, right? Well, what they could do is say, okay, hey, Larry, let's go ahead and jack up the price of our gas today. Let's set it at $4, even though the market's only saying it's worth $3. So by the two of them working together, they are colluding on the price. And now those customers have to pay a price that is higher than the competitive price for the overall gas industry. And again, this is an example of collusive pricing. So collusive pricing is going to be the correct answer here. Now on the incorrect options, dual pricing, this is when a company sells a product or service for a different price in different markets. Now there could be a legitimate reason for this. It could be a competitive strategy, or it could be just based on the geographical market versus another market, right? Like everything's more expensive in California than it is in Ohio. So that could be why a company sells a product for a different price. But that's not what this question is getting at, so that's why that option is incorrect. Predatory pricing is an interesting one. It's a very aggressive technique where a company purposely puts a super low price to flush out all of their competition. So if they know their competitors can't go below a certain price, then what a company could do is set their price for a product way below that price. Customers would then buy theirs and no longer buy the competitors, right? And then the competitors are forced to exit the market. Now, this is not necessarily illegal or anything, but it's very, very aggressive. But that's not what this is talking about, because it's talking about a higher price, not a lower price. So that's why that option is incorrect. And then lastly, transfer pricing. This is more between entities. So let's say that a company has entities in different geographical locations, right? And they have to transfer or sell product between the two. Well, for tax purposes, there is something called transfer pricing, which says you can't sell less than this price, right? And that's because otherwise you could shift around your profit to the geographic location that has the lowest tax rate. So that's what transfer pricing relates to. It's not what the question's asking about, so that's why that option's incorrect. So anytime you see anything about collusive pricing, think about Larry and Gary and how they colluded on jacking up the price of their gas in this small little town.